So,
All right, we're in the home stretch. Are you guys ready? Okay, cool. We're gonna carry on with spectrum analyzers now. All right, so we are gonna kind of repeat the same agenda we had last time for oscilloscopes. We're gonna start off with an overview, looking through the block diagram, spectrum analyzer measurements that we can do, and some common applications you'll see of spectrum analyzers. And then we are actually gonna use our oscilloscopes to do some spectrum analyzer demos as well. Again, probably didn't need the slide, but what is a spectrum analyzer? It's very similar to oscilloscope, but it's going to show an electric signal, but in the frequency domain with power. And it's used to look at power levels of discrete signals and test RF purity, along with doing some modulation analysis.
Also known as a microvoltmeter.
Ooh, exciting.
You're like that. I'm this.
I have no idea.
That one's up. That one is.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear us, Mark?
Can you hear us, Mark? Yes. Okay.
Okay. Hopefully he can hear. Oh,
All right,
yep.
so-
Okay.
Much better.
You have thumbs up?
Thumbs
Mark
up.
can hear us. We're good. Okay.
Nice. Okay.
Much better. Thank you.
Like within a spectrum analyzer. So the signal's going to come in and then it's going to go by a mixer and a local oscillator. It's going to change the signal and it's going to also add and subtract all of the harmonics of the signals. After that, it's going to go into an interfrequency amplifier and an interfrequency filter, and it's going to filter out only specific frequencies we want to be looking at. We'll go through yet another amplifier and then go to the envelope detector where it's turned into video, and then we go through the video filter. And then finally, after the detector, we have everything displayed on the screen. So to do a spectrum analyzer measurement, there are three simple steps. And if you can do these 3 steps, you will get an image every time. It's called tune, zoom, boom. Easy to remember. So the first thing you want to do is tune. So we want to pick the center frequency. It's easy to remember. So we want to pick the center frequency, and that is going to be what we tune into. For example, if we're looking at the screen, we want to pick it at that very largest peak in the center, and we'll put that in at our center frequency. Then to zoom, we'll select a span, and that's just going to be the range of frequencies we'll see on either side. And last but not least, boom, we hit the level. We're going to figure out what level of power we want to show on the spectrum analyzer. So some common spectrum analyzer applications include looking at AM and FM modulation, anything where we're looking with satellites, a lot of work with Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and 5G. We can use it with tactical radios, working anytime with cell phones, again, more 5G, and a lot of EMI pre-compliance and debugging. So one cool thing too about a lot of scopes is that they have FFTs in them. So an FFT is a fast Fourier transform, which is a mathematical algorithm that allows us to take a time domain signal and turn it into a frequency domain signal. So all the scopes in front of you are going to have an FFT on it, which is going to allow us to have a spectrum analyzer and the oscilloscope going at the same time. This is just a little bit what it'll look like. So we'll have our different frequencies of sine waves, and usually all those would add up into a sum to show in the time domain. Instead, we're going to see all the various frequencies in the frequency domain. And now if you're wondering, well, if I can just use an oscilloscope for everything, when would I ever use a spectrum analyzer? I'm so glad you asked. I'm so glad you asked. So which instrument should I be using? So you're going to want to use an oscilloscope if you have a very large bandwidth that you're using, or if you want to focus on any of your training wheels. However, you're going to want to use a spectrum analyzer if we're working at very frequencies, or if we have a large sensitivity or a large dynamic range.
We're gonna switch over to hooking up our HDMI to our scope. So it might take a second. But in the meantime, you can work on configuring a signal. We probably just want a continuous wave. We're gonna probably be using 50 megahertz up here, but feel free to explore and use whatever frequency you'd like.
Okay, so that HDMI. Okay, I'm gonna go right. Well, good.
Now we need to figure out how we're going to share this.
Oh,
How we're going to share that.
so that camera is pointed towards that.
Yeah, we can.
So
No, it's pointed towards us.
Do we want to just move that camera a little so that Mark can see the screen? We could also turn Sophie's camera on right now. Okay. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna be working with the instrument. But
Looking good, thank you.
there's my
Wait, hold on.
Thanks.
Okay.
okay. The rest of them are good though, I think.
Hi, Mark. We can hear you now. Hello.
Hi, thank you.
Of course. Okay. Let's get it going.
So what I'm doing up here to start, what am I?
Yeah.
Or you can explain.
Okay, so we're gonna show quickly just the Tune Zoom Boom basics so that we can step into some more complicated demos in a second. So what Grace is doing here is she is setting a frequency. So our generators are able to set the frequency that you desire. So here she's setting a sine wave to 30 megahertz. Now we're gonna add the spectrum in. So do you want to explain?
You can use either the hard key on the right side, or you can use the soft key. I'm gonna go ahead and just use the hard key. So if you remember what Sophie said, our first step is tune. So who remembers what tune is? Frequency, good job. Okay. So we're setting our center frequency. In this case, we do know what our frequency is. So I use 30 megahertz, so I'm gonna go ahead and set that. Okay. And then the next one is zoom. So does anyone remember what zoom is? Span, correct. It is span. So you can either go ahead and plug that in manually, or you can kind of mess around with it and change the span as you wish. This is gonna take me a while. I'm gonna start with.
I'll do 100. Your center's at 50. Yeah. Should be at. Oh wait, you're right. Or it's not at 50. Also, your span is like, okay, average. You just, yeah, there you go. Perfect. No, that's good. Okay, yeah. Okay. No, you got it. You don't want to put it too low. That's perfect. Okay.
So we have our span set now.
Perfect.
Okay. And I also stopped it too, so to run a single. Wait, it's not moving around. And then on a normal spectrum analyzer, our boom would be setting that reference level. But because we're doing FFT, we do not have a reference level on the oscilloscope. So this would just be like setting volts per division on your oscilloscope. So RPW now, and then go back to EMI debug.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're gonna take a second. I'm gonna unplug this so that we can see.
Yeah. Or you can keep it plugged in.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm gonna take a second now to talk about resolution bandwidth. I'm sure some of us know what that means. So if you raise your hand and can tell me what resolution bandwidth means, you get a point. Don't know what the points are. You gotta find out. Yeah. Yes, exactly. So that was a great explanation for people who couldn't hear. We kind of said that it has to do with the spacing of tones in a given frequency. And so this is kind of thinking about it as a window that kind of moves across a signal. And that is what is being displayed in the spectrum. So it affects the ability to separate close signals. So for example, if we were to narrow our resolution bandwidth by a magnitude of 10, we're going to be lowering the noise, aka making the signal clearer in the spectrum by 10 dB at a time. So that's kind of our rule there. So yeah, we can talk about that in our next demo.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know, because the next demo.
We can just do yours and then I'll do this one.
Well, let's just do it now. Okay, so now we're gonna do a quick demo that kind of has to do with Tune Zoom Boom, but then also looking at our spectrum. So let me put this up. I'm gonna take. Okay, oops. Let's see our screen. Okay. All right, so we're going to start with this exercise. It's a two-part exercise. So yeah, get to it. It's involving the coaxial cable again. And if people want to come up and use the scope, it's here for you to use as well. Okay. Sorry, I panicked there.
Because I was like, why am I doing this? And then we're gonna exit it out, do the same thing, and add our videos. Like, let's just keep it up and do our in there. Oh, I know. I guess we didn't think about it since we did a new run through. But yeah. Okay. Feel free. Here, we'll start it from the top. Okay. Here we go. The world is your oyster. Sorry, I'm sharing the screen with you really quick. Okay. Yeah. Be a very nice. It looks like we're also doing square. No, you're good. It doesn't really matter if you want to do square overs.
State switch on.
Yep, you have it on. It's this tab. Yep, it's on. It's good. So you can click that button right, the blue button for the spectrum, SPEC. You can add that. And then you can hear, yep. So people either set like a center frequency or a start stop frequency. We know what our frequency is because we plugged it into the methods, but you could also, I think, start like an exercise, do 0 to 200. And so your stop, you would have to change that to 200 megahertz. Yeah. And then we're going to do peak list. So that's stay in the same settings of spectrum. Yep. And you can, yeah, you can do peak table. Peaks on the waveform are also look at that. Gives you the measurements for everything. Yeah, just kind of showing that it provides a lot of information as well.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah, you can move that. You can also do what I like. So yeah, it's your it's gonna you drag that also set and make that skirt here and you can tab 2 and show like your signal and then like adjust that as the on too. Yeah. Yeah, it's all the same. And the same problem. Yep. Summers of 100.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, of course.
they did.
They did.
And they did a good job.
No.
At this time.
There was some sort of something. I just put the spectrum side. Conditions bad. So I basically have then so you see kind of expand. So if you want to go ahead and do something down to just be
I'm fun.
I'm just repeating what you said. In states return. When you select the Scrum tab.
Yeah.
All right, so I just walked around and looked at all your spectrums. They look amazing. In step 8, I included this question. So what do you notice about the peaks of the spectrum in relation to the waveform displayed on the screen? Did anyone have the opportunity to think about that? Think about why we have tones at the specific frequencies that we have them? Yeah, exactly. So in relation to the harmonics of a square wave, so if we think of what a square wave is, it's built on the summation of odd harmonics. So we're going to be having tones at every odd frequency, which you should be able to see on your spectrum. And you can see that by clicking the peak list and looking at the peak table. So hopefully everyone's able to see that. We're going to move on to part 2 of this demo.
Energy savers on.
Where did our
Energy savers on.
battery?
Okay, we'll grab a charger.
I'm gonna get my chart.
Here we go. Where did our power plug go? Awesome.
All right, so now we are going to be using what we thought about just earlier with the resolution bandwidth and applying that to our noise blur. So you'll be able to see the relationship between noise blur and RBW now. So feel free to move on to the next part of the exercise.
We had other down there. Awesome. Excuse me.
So, so you lost are those really bad? Yeah. But they are good on. So is it really there or is it measurement there? They should be pretty. Okay. Yes. It should be there. So, don't spot.
No.
Do you guys never see that?
I mean, we just need. It's easier.
Maybe it's speeds and the spectrum is down.
So all piece of equipment is you see it. It's
Do you know this about the special with the large initial values? You know what I'm saying?
so things they bring you. Perfect. So,
Step 4?
you said
Oh, okay. Okay. Go back to that. Spectrum. Spectrum. Digital. Social.
Great. Were you guys able to drop it down to 1 kilohertz? 1 kilohertz. I don't know if it's a plural. It's you said that stuff yet? Okay. Yeah, we get to so is that your spectrum on the screen there? Yeah. Okay. So your RB-dub is at 30 right now. You should see like a noise floor. You don't really have a noise floor right now. Will you go back to menu and click spectrum? And then you're on 30. I just had them like click it and adjust the multi. Okay. Will you go back to CF span? There just should be a noise floor. So on the top, you see where it says start stop and it's highlighted. And so right click to the left there, the CF span. So yeah, it's the gray button to the left of that one. So your center is at 100, which should be, what do we have?
I did it at 10 meg.
I think we had it. So if you could center it at 10 megahertz, that might be. Oh, I don't know. Spectrum. Yep. So you can double click. Yeah. Yep. Now your RBW is at.
You could zoom out on the.
Let's preset the spectrum. So there's also a spectrum hard key there. So all the way to the right, you see that little blue. It's highlighted. Yep, click that one. And then click, do you see spectrum preset on the bottom of that window? Just go ahead and click that button. There we go. Okay. So now we're going to go. Yep. So there's your regular spectrum. Now we're going to go back, put frequency is at 10, right? Center. You should set to, let's see what the last word is. Set the center to 10 megahertz. So back to center. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. And then you might even want to drop the noise floor a little bit so you can see that full time. So that's one's highlighted. So you can even take the position knob and just lower it a little bit on the vertical. So the blue, yeah. So that one, oh, other way. There, and then click position. So the knob above, you can lower that one a little bit too. So you can see the top of that tone. Because right now you see, you can't really see it. There we go. Keep going. Perfect. Okay. So now you can see that tone. Okay. And you want to see the noise floor for this. Perfect. Oh, perfect. Okay. So if you want to, so now, you can turn off auto RBW. It's a switch. It's blue right now. It's underneath the thing highlighted in orange. A little higher under auto. Yes, you see that switch. So perfect. And now you can manually adjust. So right now it's at 20 kilohertz. Resolution bandwidth. Yes. So you can click on it. If you just click, now you can turn the multi-use knob. So see that, yep, perfect. So now, yeah, it's gonna get wider. So now so you're turning it up right now, actually, up to megahertz. So if you turn it the other way, you can see the signal get, yep, skinnier, obviously. And then you want to put it all the way down to 1 kilohertz, so super low. So now you see that really clearly. But there's no noise floor now. So you should turn it down so low that you see the trigger flashing, actually. So keep it at that. So see the trigger flashing? Yeah, so You probably know this, but what do you think that means? What do you think that's indicating?
The rate of the trigger that it's.
Yeah, but
going on.
yeah, but why do you think it's triggering so slowly though?
That I could not explain.
Yeah, so it is because the acquisition rate right now is so slow because the resolution bandwidth is so narrow that it's taking a really long period of time to acquire that spectrum. So because of that, it's only able to trigger once, maybe twice a second, where typically our trigger rate is what, like 4 point something million or something ridiculously high. So right now the bandwidth is so narrow, yeah, that it's triggering that slowly. So the idea here is, you want the sweet spot of the RBW. You want it narrow enough that you can see your spectrum clearly, but not so narrow that it's taking this long to process your information. Yeah, so this would be an indicator that it's too low. So yeah, you never really want to go below, like for this center and signal, you don't really want to go below a kilohertz. So that would be like perfect. Yeah, so you can see though the noise floor is now you can't even see the noise floor. So if you turn it to the right and raise the RBW, the noise floor will reappear. So it's at 1 kilohertz. So if you, yeah, now it's steady. Yeah, but if you keep raising it, the noise floor will reappear. So now you have that emergence of noise that, wouldn't be there if your resolution bandwidth was super narrow. Yeah. It's kind of the demo. So. Of course. Thank you. Up here. Okay. I'm gonna ask. Is everyone?
All right. So hopefully you saw your noise raw in that exercise. So we are going to ask a couple follow-ups so everyone understands what's going on. So first of all, did everyone see their trigger light flashing like crazy? Like it almost blinded you, it was so bright. Okay, maybe not, but you should have seen your trigger flash like crazy at you. Does anyone have an idea of why it would be doing that at such a low resolution?
No cheating.
Okay, do you want to explain why? Okay, I'll do it. So this trigger light is flashing like crazy because at this point, our resolution bandwidth is so narrow that our acquisition rate gets very long. So the rate of time that a spectrum is being acquired is so long that our instrument can't trigger the way that it's supposed to trigger. So this kind of idea is telling us that a resolution bandwidth that's too wide, of course, is not great because you're not seeing the individual tones. But on top of that, if your resolution bandwidth is so narrow, your instrument is not working the way it's supposed to be. So that was what we should have hopefully gotten out of that. You should have seen your noise floor lower, but then you should have reached that threshold where it's just not really performing correctly. So hope everyone got something out of that, got to see the FFT. Now I'm going to hand it back to Grace to explain some EMI debugging.
Okay, so we're gonna use a feature just because today we only have passive probes with us. So in order to do a typical EMI debugging, you would not be using a passive probe, you'd be using a near field probe. So I'm gonna connect up my oscilloscope really quick for you. But in the meantime, if you want to get started, you'll just click the apps again, and then you'll go into demos, and then RF. Let me see. Might be easier, honestly, for me to do that. And then click EMI debug. So because we have the internal generator, feel free to unplug any BNC cables that might be getting in your way and just have a clear surface.
Wow, this one is so sick. It's like so sticky. Okay.
Do you want to do it
Yeah.
and I'll explain while I
Yeah.
do it? Okay, so Maeve's going into our apps, into our demos. Our and then EMI.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you want to? Yeah. Has everyone gotten here? Demos? Okay.
I think so. And then you can just start the demo and read through it as you go. I'll explain it as we do it. So this is talking about the log scale earlier that Sophie brought up. So you can see that is in dBm. And then I'm gonna do the gate on the next one. Okay, yeah. But if you just want to click through it and read and just you're allowed to be interactive too with this feature. So if you want to do measurements or if you want to draw on it, feel free to mess around with it in that term. Hit next. Okay, perfect. So then we have the tables. And earlier Sophie brought up that a great feature for this FFT is doing gates. So how we're going to do that is if you click the zoom feature on the top, so it's a little
Magnifying glass?
yeah, magnifying glass. And once you have the zoom feature, you can X out what part of the signal you want to be looking at. So say that you don't want to just be looking at this, you kind of want to move it along. So you can use your multi-use toggle at the bottom of the knob and go from side to side on the signal. So this is good for seeing different loads possibly, or different falling edges and what the behavior of the signal looks like.
Just moving it back.
Yeah. And so as you can note, something you might realize is that anything that's really sharp in your signal is going to be broader on the frequency range. Okay. So sorry we do not have those probes to play around with, but I hope this kind of gave you a good idea of what that might look like during an EMI debugging real life case scenario. So, okay.
Did everyone get there? Thumbs up if you got to the demo and were able to do it. All right.
Awesome.
Okay.
And also too, this feature with the gate is specific to oscilloscopes that you can see a single event. So that's pretty cool too. Last one.
Alrighty, so that was an example of our built-in demos. Yeah, we're gonna do one more exercise. And I'm gonna put that on the screen now.
Switch back to it.
Did we just do this one?
No.
Okay, this is our last exercise of the day. So best for last. Just kidding. But okay, so we're going to be toying around with the amplitude modulation that is built into the scope again. So for this one, you're just going to need that BNC cable and use Gen 1 and channel 1 and follow these steps. So go ahead and get that going. Okay, awesome.
Wait, did we just do this one? No. Okay, no, we're good. We're good. Hold on.
Might have some similar numbers in there, but.
Yeah, it does.
Take over here, read through the instructions.
I've used it, so anyone else want to do it? We'll see what's in.
This is the one person.
The sign. The frequency to hertz, 50 megahertz. The stage. Next, select the modulation thing. Set the depth 10%.
I think you may wanna connect the generator to,
Oh, yeah.
that will help.
Yeah. Oh, we're doing all our settings anyway. Store. Yeah, 10%. And then turn it on. The on button and up there. Up one.
There's like a slider there.
Close the menu. Do that, or I just tap it on the screen. Close the menu, make sure to set the scale of the signal so that it fills 80% of the screen. That's about 80%. Okay, and then set the spectrum hard key and set the center frequency to 500 megahertz. So right here, yep, there you go. And it's already in spectrum, okay. And set the center frequency to 50 megahertz. All right. Okay, next, close menu. What does tone in the spectrum look like right now? Yeah, detail, okay. Okay. And so double tap the span tab. Double tap the span there. Then
Should be inside this spectrum analyzer.
there we go. And then span tab, yep. Reduce span by 1 decade at a time until you will see the sidebands within the modulation at around 10 megahertz.
So right now the span is 100 megahertz, then you want to change it to 10 megahertz. Just to see what that does. And then to 1.
So you can also adjust it by rotating it in the numbers, and that's what we want to do. We want to see as we reduce it, start up high, and then reduce it down to 1. So whatever previous, and then reduce it down to 1. And look at the effects. Only down to 1 set 10K. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, a couple of spikes in either side of it. So you're past 10K hertz. And then you can tap on the screen to remove that menu so we can get the thing. There we go. Yeah, we got 3 spikes. Under the menu, go back to the cursor tab and set the type to yes. Okay, say yes. The source for the sensor, which is 1. Type X, the source is spectrum 1 norm, and show cursor to on. Yeah, so under the menu, go back to the cursor tab and set the type. Okay, we did that. The source, the spectrum. Oh, there you go. Yeah, more. Yeah, spectrum and more. And I will show cursor. Okay, interesting. What is that number going to say?
Very good. I like this idea.
All the peaks are same distance apart from each other.
Sometimes you can just push the same knob that you used to move the left cursor, and then you just push it, then it moves to the right one. Well, some other scopes. Okay.
So pushing the cursor button or pushing that tab?
The button. No, the rotary
The rotary, just that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, to get the other side, I don't know. That's what you're talking about. It's an old one. Okay, wonderful. Okay, next, adjust the cursor to measure the spacing of the side bands to the carrier. It should be 1 gigahertz. We can just, you know, just okay, adjust the cursor. Now we will adjust the VW. I guess we got to go back to that menu. VW, okay, open the menu, tab, toggle the auto or VW. This will allow us to adjust our VW. And yeah, I guess you can just toggle and see what effect that has. Otherwise, the last instruction
It's a spectrum spread.
Reaches available gigahertz. What do you notice?
Because you can no longer resolve, right?
Sees. Fine. Just. And then adjust it. So change the bottom line. That's at 5. So 1.
Go to person, yeah, make it to 1 kHz. It's 5, right?
So it's on the army. Step.
That's all.
$3:45 right now. I know that we're supposed to close up by 4, so I wanted to give everyone a chance if there's any questions you guys have. You'll get 3 points that again you don't know what the points are going to, but you get 3 points if you ask a question. Yeah, everyone got it.
I guess maybe.
Yeah.
So memory, I'm gonna learn memory the scope will help to increase the minimum resolution bandwidth. Is that statement true? Because you're gonna be able to capture more, yes, and then you will see the blinking. I think the same why would
You're able to take more
Memory, just to be able to take more measurements. You know, it's going to be able to store a lot more. Yeah.
time it's a memory or get more for the same time. So that's so bring each other glitch over time, right?
You can roll it for like a really long time. Yeah, find a glitch.
Just record it. And then I don't know, how, so normally if you increase the memory, then there's a window and then you have like a void or a gap that you're not measuring, and then you go again and measure the window, so that. Yeah, the lines.
Yeah. So I don't think it's related to memory, it's more related to line time. Yeah, it's more related to how quickly line time is related to the acquisition rate. So it's not related to memory, yeah.
And that goes back to earlier when you asked about the blinking, that was also based on acquisition rate as well, versus memory. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Why?
Yeah,
Memory. You can reduce,
true, yeah.
you can significantly reduce the process time of blind as you acquired. Just the trivial. So you are correct.
Well,
Everybody was correct.
Perfect.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for doing these exercises with us. Hopefully you learned a bit about how you can use scopes and spectrum analyzers nowadays. There's a lot of fun, cool capabilities. So yeah, thanks again and appreciate everyone for having us.
Awesome.
Just one final announcement. Thanks everyone for coming today. I'll try to get the slides from the various presentations and send them out. The videos, it's kind of a work in progress. We'll try to make them available, but some things we're working on the videos. At least we'll get the slides going for you guys and you'll have those. So thanks for coming. Grab leftover food if you want on the way out, that's fine. Yeah. There's lots of pizzas, yeah. Lots of pizza. Any other announcements? Can you get anything? Oh, yes.
Do you know how I stop recording? So now I stop recording on this. I think he's recording. He's recording? Yeah. Okay, cool. Then